Winds of change are truly in the air, as the former international cricket star and philanthropist Imran Khan has been sworn in as the 22nd Prime Minister of Pakistan. Khan's party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf (PTI), ended the 30-year-old dominance of two dynastic political parties, namely Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz (PMLN) and Pakistan People's Party (PPP). PTI came into the power with a slogan of change, but has change truly come about? Like all previous elections, this year's 2018 elections have been marred by serious allegations of rigging and powerful military interference, a claim which isn't new if we look at the troubled history of this nation. Pakistan isn't a Praetorian state per se, but has in fact oscillated between civilian and military rule, given the facts how no one Prime Minister-elect completed his designated 5-year term in the last 71 years, and how the military has played shotgun for over 30 years, being accused of indirect influence on major policy decisions under civilian rule therein. This has been the second democratic transition in the history of Pakistan. Let's look back at the campaign trail for the general elections 2018 to get an insight into whether the accusations hold true, or is the military tainted history being used as a medium of misconstruction by the global establishment. Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz (PMLN), headed by the three-time Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, is facing a plethora of challenges. The incumbent government party has been hit by an accountability process that started a year ago with revelations in Panama paper leaks. The former Prime Minister was sentenced for 10 years in prison for having assets beyond his means of income. His daughter, Maryam Nawaz, also a political frontrunner, was sentenced for 7 years for being a facilitator in the crime. The party claims that the entire accountability process was orchestrated by the military and a fair trial wasn't given to the former premier. The party went into the elections with a narrative of development that they managed in their 5-year tenure, but more importantly, banked on their narrative of upholding the sanctity of vote, which they believed was under threat by non-elected entities. We spoke to the former Interior Minister, Mr. Ehsan Iqbal, regarding the many concerns the party has.
There's no doubt about it, and now it has been very amply highlighted in local media as well as international media that PMLN has been targeted, its leadership has been targeted, and certainly there is no level playing field. You have to understand that Mr. Nawaz Sharif's name was not included in the Panama Papers. No other leader. There are a number of leaders in Pakistan from other parties whose name also appeared in Panama Papers, but no one was picked up. Nobody has been put to trial. So it is a witch hunting, and people of Pakistan know very well. And therefore, the support for Mr. Nawaz Sharif has not dwindled. It has increased. The sympathy vote for him has increased, and it is because people have seen the transformation in Pakistan in the last 5 years. People have seen that Pakistan has improved. 5 years ago, terrorism, suicide bombings were the biggest problem. Every second day, we would lose 50, 60, 70 Pakistanis due to terrorist attacks. Today, mashallah, Pakistan is very peaceful. Economy was at almost 3% for the last many years, 10 years, or for a decade. We were dwindling at about 3% growth. For the first time in 13 years, we touched 5.8%, which is almost 6%. It is, we doubled the growth of the economy. Karachi, which is our financial capital, had a serious law and order situation. Today it is peaceful, it is coming back to life. Economy is, business is booming there. So all in all, people think that this government has delivered. And why a leader who has delivered has been targeted, whereas in the past, Mr. Zardari's government, which became a brand name for corruption in the world, nobody asks them any question. Why General Musharraf is sitting in Dubai, who violated constitution and he threw country in so much turmoil with his policies, particularly with reference to how he conducted the Afghan war, how he put Pakistan in the war against terror. That brought the whole war inside Pakistan.
We spoke to General Jahangir Karamat, former Army Chief of Pakistan and former ambassador to the United States, to get a perspective of the military on this entire issue.
This whole thing about establishment involvement is overblown. I think the real problem here is that it's not that something is happening to a political party. It's just that some members of a political party, because of their personal business matters, have got involved in a law case with in the judicial process. So it's not that the whole party is involved or that the establishment is after the party. It's just that some leaders of the party are involved in this. So I don't see why the establishment should be going out of its way to do anything. I don't think the establishment has to do anything overtly or surreptitiously to either influence elections or target somebody.
Pakistan People's Party, a major force in Pakistani politics, has also been in deep waters after the assassination of their leader, Benazir Bhutto. Asif Ali Zardari, the co-chairperson, is accused of massive corruption which has tarnished the party's reputation in Punjab, the largest province in Pakistan. The party's hopes lie with Bilawal Bhutto, their young leader and the son of Benazir Bhutto. We spoke to Qamar Zaman Kaira, president of Pakistan People's Party, Punjab.
People's Party, of course, is facing some challenges in Punjab. Serious challenges are there. But nothing new for us. In last 50 years, we have passed through many times of challenges when the state apparatus and the non-state apparatus, they were against. The People's Party succeeded and we responded back. Inshallah, we will respond back again. The accountability process which has been started against Mian Nawaz Sharif and his family, it is not started by any opponent party or by military or by a military coup or by a military rule. No. Mian Nawaz Sharif was in power. His brother was in power in Punjab. His party was in power.
The question still remains, is Bilawal independent enough to take decisions on his own, or will it still be in the shadow of Asif Zardari?
He is a young leader and he has total authority. Of course, there is consultation with Zardari Saab, with the other party senior leaders. But chairman has his own authority and his own way of thinking and way of action. So as far as autonomy or authority is concerned, he enjoys full autonomy or authority. He consults a lot, but there is no compulsion on him.
शेरबाजी हुकूमत नहीं चाहते हो, आप कठपुतली हुकूमत नहीं चाहते हो, आप अवामी हुकूमत चाहते हो, और अवामी हुकूमत बनाने के लिए, अवामी हुकूमत लाने के लिए तीन ही आपका ऑप्शन है। आज भी भुट्टो जिंदा है, कल भी भुट्टो जिंदा था, आज भी भुट्टो जिंदा है, कल भी भुट्टो जिंदा था।
Being a human rights activist in a country like Pakistan is surely not an easy job. We spoke to Marvi Sirmat, a budding journalist and a human rights activist.
I'm part of a fact-finding mission of HRCP, Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, on media coercion right now. And we are interviewing different journalists, and you know what? It's very difficult to make them say that it has happened with them. No one wants to point any finger because that means more consequences. So no one wants to undergo those consequences. So it has become, now generally we can say, oh, there is so much of coercion, there is so much of arm twisting of media, there is so much of censorship using different tactics. But you know, the moment you say names, you put names and faces to the coercion, bang, that is, and they are you are either you are going to be picked up or you are going to be fired from your job.
Is it fair to say that corruption is a minor issue, but Nawaz Sharif is primarily being targeted for punching above his weight with the establishment?
That's the truth. That's truth. And when you know, if you look at the entire trial, the crime, if there was any, was committed back in 1990s somewhere. And if you look at Mr. Nawaz Sharif's politics around that time, you would know that in 1990s he was the blue-eyed boy of the boys, and he was It was, I mean, he was untouchable practically. It was very difficult to say anything about him and his corruption. Back then, I remember that we would be called, journalists would have, there were journalists who were filing stories on the corruption. Zahid Hussain, if I recall, was one of them. He was filing stories for the Herald at that time, and he did pretty good stories on the corruption of Mr. Nawaz Sharif, and I remember he was called traitor and anti-national and whatnot. So it was pretty difficult then. So who was supporting? If Maryam Nawaz Sharif is a facilitator, and for being a facilitator she gets 8 years, what do the facilitators of Nawaz Sharif get who are facilitating, supporting, patronizing him at that time? So clearly it's not about corruption. It's about they literally want to make Mr. Nawaz Sharif and his daughter vanish from the public eye.
The former Prime Minister, Mian Mohammad Nawaz Sharif, after being convicted for 10 years, is returning today to Lahore. And as you can see, the law enforcement agencies have placed containers to prevent people from going out and receiving their former Prime Minister.
जनाब मैं बिल्कुल एयरपोर्ट के कोल हो गया हाँ इन्होंने रस्ते से बहुत ज़्यादा गाड़ियाँ खड़ी की ने और शैलिंग की उत्थे इंतहा हुई भी है बहुत ज़्यादा लोग बेहोश हो गए जिंदा मैं अपना मौजूद सी असी पूरा अमन एहतजाज कर रहे थे लेकिन सानू इंतजामिया ने मजबूर कर दिता है कि असी जो
शैलिंग के बावजूद इतने आवाम जाएगी
इंशाल्लाह असी हो गए हैं असी फिर जावांगे.
Every road coming into Lahore is blocked. And there are thousands of vehicles, both on the GT road and the motorway, which are blocked. And even inside the city, everything is blocked. So we had to come through the side roads, and we got here in 8 hours. So the people know that Mian Nawaz Sharif is coming. So Lahore has responded, and there will be a large crowd, but it will be a peaceful crowd. It's just to register or protest at what has happened in the last week, and even before that, and what is happening in the election.
Despite the tall claims by the PMLN leadership, we can report that not a significant amount of people could gather for a procession, but more importantly, not a single rally made it to the airport for the symbolic protest. Analysts blame the difference in approach of Nawaz Sharif and his brother Shehbaz Sharif for the disarray within the party. Nawaz Sharif has garnered a lot of traction with his aggressive stance against the army, but the people chanting those slogans don't amount much, especially when they see the younger brother adopting the policy of appeasement with the military. Your house was ransacked and the valuables like money and jewelry wasn't stolen. Is it fair to say that these are one of the intimidation tactics that the establishment uses to scare people like you who speak up for human rights?
I would, absolutely, because you see, valuable in terms of money, maybe no, but valuable in terms of what was valuable to us. It was our data, our work. It has gone. I mean, I don't know why did they want to do it, and they were Apple laptops, so yes, they were valuable as far as money is concerned for us, but the major losses of data and of our work, and which was done to make us silent, to give us a message that we need to be in line.
For more than 70 years, we've seen the civil-military relations being going up and down, and the army being directly or indirectly involved in Pakistani politics. Who would you blame? Is it the incompetent politicians, as many military generals say, or is it the psyche of the military generals who do want to come into power?
I won't blame it on politicians' incompetence. That's again an argument that is being used over and over again in Pakistan. Oh, they are incompetent, that is why they are incompetence. Their incompetence is just no justification for the gunmen to come and take over. No, I'm sorry, that's complete bullshit, and I'm so sorry for the language, but that is that.
Nawaz Sharif has been accused of taking up unnecessary issues with the military when in power. He was also responsible for the ouster of General Kalamat in '98. We talked to the general about this ongoing tussle between the civil and military leadership.
Yes, he's had problems with the military. Sometimes those were blown out of proportion. There were minor issues which could have been resolved very quickly. But I think he has a confrontational streak in him, and he does get into confrontations. And I think both sides have been mature in the sense of showing restraint, and the overriding factor has been national interest and the national image of the country.
PTI, or the Movement for Justice, headed by Imran Khan, was the front runner in opposing these two parties, PMLN and PPP, claiming their governance and corruption in the last 30 years has resulted in masses opting for a change.
जिस दौलत को उसने अपनी शादी के वक्त ठुकरा दिया था वो इस मुल्क के लिए निकला है, इस अवाम के लिए निकला है। हम उसका इस्तेमाल करेंगे नवाज शरीफ का, इमरान खान की क़यादत में उसको अडयाला जेल छोड़ के आएंगे।
नून लीग करीब नहीं आती। चलिए बहुत शुक्रिया जी।
PTI is renowned for agitational politics. Their aggressive campaign against Nawaz Sharif resulted in their premier being thrown behind bars. We spoke to Shafkat Mahmood, a senior leader of the PTI, regarding the issue of military interference.
I think Nawaz Sharif's problem is that he has such a huge amount of corruption to hide that he needs to distract people to other issues. And this whole civil-military thing was a way of distracting people's attention from this massive corruption done by the Sharif family. So I think that in third world countries and in countries of where democracy is yet to strengthen completely, there will be occasional problems in civil-military relations. But we've had now 10 years of uninterrupted democracy, and we are going to have more, and elections are happening. So I think that while on major issues related to security and defense of the country, the army will be consulted. But to say that everything is being run by the army is not correct.
The army is accused of intimidating members of parliament to change their loyalties from PMLN and PPP and contest elections on the symbol of Jeep as independent candidates.
No, I think it's a coincidence. If you mean the symbol of the Jeep, it's a coincidence. It's nothing. I mean, nobody would be so stupid to give their own this thing. So it's a coincidence. It's a symbol that they've chosen themselves. Perhaps they thought it would give them some kind of an advantage. I don't think we should look beyond that.
It's a beautiful coincidence. It's not. Come on, we all know. General Jahangir Karamat can say whatever he wants, but come on, he's not allowed to insult our intelligence. He should just pay attention to what is happening. I think if he honestly believes that means he's not paying attention. So let me educate you, Mr. Jahangir Karamat, if you're watching this. The Jeep symbol is not a coincidence at all.
This whole Jeep debacle was put to rest in the general elections 2018, when the majority of candidates contesting on this symbol lost. Despite the troubled relationship civil-military leadership has had, many pundits and analysts are of the view that the progression of democracy is the only solution in rooting out such interference.
It will take some time. Things will come to a stage where the functional democracy determines the things and all the institutions are subordinate to that. But we are passing through it in an evolution. So we are pushing back gradually the institution, and the institution is taking its position. There are certain times where adjustments are required. Of course, there are certain allegations which should not be there, and the institution is cognizant of that. We believe that they are also for democracy, because now everyone in Pakistan believes, whether it's military or non-military, that democracy is the only way forward. There's no other way forward. So, as far as direct intervention and very huge intervention is concerned, I'm sorry, it is not like that. There is martial over here. But if I say that everything is okay, like a developed nation, it is not like that. But it will take some time for proper adjustment.
Yes, I'm hopeful because I think a couple of things have happened. One, we've got a young population voting, and they're not tied to baggage from the past. They look around and they see what is happening and who's going to give them opportunities, employment opportunities, progress opportunities, and they're going to decide to vote on that basis. The other is that we've seen a lot of these stalwarts going back to their constituencies to ask for votes and being roughed up by the voters, which means that the voters have not been happy with their performance and they want delivery from the people they elect. So that's going to figure in the election, and we should see new faces coming up.
Well, we have to invest in human beings. We have to improve human resource development. Human resource development is our major priority. Then we need to ensure merit, and we change this entire governance system to make it merit-based. And then, completely transform the economy. I mean, without transforming the economy, nothing is going to happen.
नसीब बिलादरी भी खान साहब के साथ है और जोश हम साथ देंगे पीटीआई का।
ये बहुत अच्छे इंसान है, बहुत इनका अच्छा इखलाक है, हम कहते हैं कि यही आए।
This isn't the first time we're hearing about the rigging allegations, notwithstanding which remains the fact that PTI and Imran Khan got 16.8 million votes in this elections. Remains the fact that a large population of Pakistan have pinned its hopes with the newly elected Prime Minister. Remains the fact that resilience is rooted in the DNA of this nation.